Welcome to the AI Checkpoints. Today, we're embarking on quite a deep dive. We're looking into AI agents and maybe more importantly, the art of prompting them effectively.
It's definitely an art,
Yeah,
and a rapidly moving one.
absolutely. So our mission here is really to, cut through some of the noise. We've been digging into insights from places like Anthropic and Y Combinator.
Some of the leaders in the space, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. To give you a shortcut to understanding what's actually working right now.
And it's fascinating because, well, managing these highly intelligent, sort of autonomous systems, it's not like traditional coding at all.
Right. That's the hook, isn't it?
Yeah.
The analogy that keeps coming up is that it's less like programming and more like managing a person.
A very smart, very capable, but sometimes incredibly literal employee. You have to be so precise.
Huh. Yeah, I can picture that. We'll definitely get into that. But maybe first, let's just level set. What are we talking about when we say AI agent? It's more than just like a chatbot, right?
Oh, definitely. It's much more. The core idea, and Anthropic puts this nicely, is models using tools in a loop.
Okay. Tools in a loop. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means you give the agent a task, a goal,
Yeah.
and it doesn't just give you one answer back. It works continuously. It decides which tools it needs,
Mm.
maybe a search engine, maybe access to a database, maybe code execution. It uses the tool, gets some information back, and then this is the crucial part. It updates its own plan based on that feedback. It iterates.
So it's constantly thinking, planning, acting, and replanning,
Mm.
all on its own until the job's done.
Exactly. It's that continuous multi-step problem-solving capability. That's the big difference from just having a simple back-and-forth conversation. These things are built for complex tasks.
Like a little digital project manager almost.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to think about it. Autonomous, adaptive.
Okay, so they're powerful, but you wouldn't use one for everything, would you? When does it actually make sense to deploy an agent versus, say, just writing a script or using a simpler tool?
Good question. Because you don't want to use them for everything. They can be resource intensive. Anthropic actually has a pretty useful checklist for this.
Oh, handy. What's on it?
First, complexity. Is the task something where you, a human, can easily map out all the steps? If yes, you probably don't need an agent. Agents shine when you know the end goal, like turn this design doc into working code.
Okay.
But the exact path, the specific steps, are kind of fuzzy or unpredictable.
Okay, so it's for when the journey is uncertain, even if the destination is clear. What else?
Value. Is the task really high value? Does it generate revenue? Does it save a ton of skilled human time? Agents cost money to run, so you need a good ROI.
Right, makes sense. You're not deploying an agent to, like, order your lunch.
Unless that lunch order involves complex multi-tool orchestration and is somehow mission critical?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay. Complexity, value, anything else?
Feasibility. Can the agent actually do the parts of the task? Does it have the right tools, the right access? If not, you might need to simplify the goal. And finally, crucially, the cost of errors. Can mistakes be easily fixed,
Mm-hmm.
or are they catastrophic? For something like critical financial trades, you probably still want a human firmly in the loop.
Got it. So where are they really shining then? You mentioned coding.
Yeah, coding's a big one. Going from that design doc to a pull request is a prime example Anthropic uses. The process is iterative, requires trying things, maybe searching for solutions.
Yeah.
Perfect for an agent loop. They specifically mentioned Claude is great at this.
Claude being Anthropic's model.
Right. And data analysis is another good fit. You want certain insights, but the data might be messy, inconsistent. An agent can adapt and figure out the cleaning and transformation steps.
In things like web search or maybe even just using a computer interface, clicking around, filling forms.
Exactly. Mistakes there are usually low cost. You can just tell it to try again or check the source. So yeah, those are good use cases too.
Okay, so we know what they are and when to use them. Now, the really tricky part, guiding them. How do you manage this super intelligent, literal employee?
Ah, yes. The prompting. It really is the core skill. Anthropic calls it programming in natural language, which is true.
But the Y Combinator folks take it further, right?
They do. They compare it directly to learning how to manage a person. And I think that mental model is key. You have to try and understand how the agent thinks, what its environment looks like to it, what tools it knows about.
If you can't explain the task clearly enough for a human intern to get it.
Then the AI probably won't get it either. That's the level of clarity you need. And sometimes that means really detailed prompts.
Like the ParaHelp example from Y Combinator. Their customer support AI prompt is apparently pages long.
Yeah, they mentioned it could be like 6 pages. It starts by defining the LLM's whole persona or role. You are the manager of a customer service agent,
Right.
and then meticulously lays out the task, the rules, everything.
Wow. So clarity is job one. What else? You mentioned heuristics.
Right. Anthropic talks about giving reasonable heuristics. These are like general guidelines or principles. So instead of just listing rules, you instill concepts. Like the idea of irreversibility, telling the agent to be extra careful and maybe ask for confirmation before doing anything that can't be undone.
Okay, that's smart. Like a safety protocol.
Exactly. Or giving it budgets. For instance, for simple questions, try to answer using fewer than 5 tool calls. Otherwise, it might just keep going and going.
Ah, like the example you mentioned where it just kept searching endlessly for the perfect source.
Precisely. We learned that one the hard way. You have to give reasonable stopping conditions.
And structure matters too, you said, like using XML tags in the output.
Yes, the Parahelp prompt says that. Telling the agent how to format its response is surprisingly important. LLMs are often trained on structured data like XML, so giving them output structure makes it easier for them to follow instructions, and, crucially, easier for other agents or systems to parse their output later.
Okay, so clear role, clear task, heuristics, structured output. What about guiding its actual thinking process?
Yeah, this is getting more advanced. Anthropic suggests prompting the agent to actually plan its approach before acting.
Like, make a plan first.
Exactly. Ask it to decide. How complex should my search queries be? How many times should I call this tool? What sources am I looking for? What does success even look like for this subtask?
That's like forcing it to be strategic.
Pretty much. And newer models, like Claude 4 Opus, have this ability called interleaf thinking.
Interleaf thinking.
Yeah, it means the model can pause between its actions, between tool calls, and reflect. So you can prompt it, okay, you got these search results. Are they reliable? Do they contradict each other? Should you add a disclaimer? It's about critical evaluation mid-task, not just blindly following the plan.
That's a big step up in sophistication.
It really is. And as these models get access to more and more tools, Anthropic mentioned Claude 4 Opus can handle over 100, you have to give guidance on which tool to use when.
Don't just dump the toolbox on its lap.
Right. Tell it how your company uses specific tools. For internal questions, search Slack first. And definitely avoid giving it tools with really similar names or functions that just causes confusion.
This all sounds powerful, but also potentially fragile. Like one wrong instruction in the prompt could send it off the rails.
That's the challenge with these looped autonomous systems. Anthropic definitely flags this. A small change in the prompt can have unexpected cascading effects down the line. You need to be ready to watch carefully and roll back changes if things go weird.
Like the infinite search problem again.
Exactly. And another practical challenge is managing the context window, especially for long-running tasks. Even with huge windows like 200,000 tokens, an agent running for hours or days can still fill it up.
So what do you do then?
There are strategies. Anthropic uses something called compaction. It's a tool the agent uses to summarize its own conversation history and working memory into a much denser format. Then, a new instance of the agent can start with that summary and continue the task.
Clever. Like compressing its own brain state.
Kind of, yeah. Or, agents can simply write information to external files, like a scratchpad, to effectively extend their memory.
And the sub-agent idea, like delegating.
Right. For a really complex task, like large-scale research, you might have a lead agent that delegates specific searches or analyses to sub-agents. They do their work, summarize their findings, and report back to the lead agent, saving context space in the main process.
That's like building a little AI team structure.
It really is becoming like that. Now, when you're starting out building these prompts, the advice from both Anthropic and YC is consistent. Start simple.
Don't try to build that 6-page prompt on day one.
Please don't. Anthropic says, let Claude be Claude. Give it a basic goal, see what it does. You might be surprised how capable it is out of the box. Then iterate. See where it fails and add specific instructions to fix that failure.
And Y Combinator talked about meta-prompting, using AI to help write the prompts.
Yeah, that's a really cool technique. If you have a prompt that's not working well, you can feed that prompt, along with examples of where it failed, to a more powerful LLM like a Claude 4 or a Gemini Pro, and ask it to suggest improvements to the original prompt.
Whoa. Like AI coaching for your AI prompts.
It feels a bit like test-driven development, as YC pointed out. Companies like Jazzberry use hard examples to continually refine their prompts with this meta approach.
And another key thing from YC, especially tropier, the escape hatches, making sure the AI knows when to say, I don't know.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
LLMs want to be helpful, which means they can sometimes just make stuff up, hallucinate if they don't have the information. You have to explicitly prompt them. If you lack the necessary information, state clearly that you cannot answer. Don't let them guess.
Better to get, I don't know, than confident nonsense.
Much better. Some models even offer debug info, almost like an internal to-do list, which is super helpful for the developer. And that ties into the thinking traces YC mentioned for models like Gemini Pro 2.5.
Right, being able to see its reasoning step by step.
Exactly. It's like a debugger for the AI's thought process. You can literally watch how it arrived at an answer or why it chose a specific tool, which is invaluable for figuring out why your prompt isn't working as expected.
Okay, so prompt engineering is this intricate dance of clarity, structure, guidance, and debugging. But even if you get the prompt right, how do you know it's right? How do you evaluate these complex, long-running agents?
Now we get to what Y Combinator called the crown jewels, the evaluation.
More valuable than the prompt itself.
That's what companies like ParaHelp believe, and I think they're right. Evaluating agents is hard. It's not like a simple classification task where the answer is just right or wrong. Agents run for a long time. Their processes can be unpredictable.
So standard metrics don't really work.
Not easily. And without good evils, you're just tinkering in the dark. You don't know if your prompt changes are actually making things better or worse systemically.
So how do you start? Anthropic had some advice there.
Yeah, they said basically, don't wait for the perfect automated system. The larger the effect size, the smaller the sample size needed. Start small, even if it's manual checks on a few examples. Get some signals, some feedback quickly. Don't get bogged down trying to build a massive evil harness first.
Just get started and use realistic tasks, right? Not toy problems.
Absolutely critical. Both sources emphasize this. Evaluate the agent on the actual kinds of problems it will face in the real world. Real coding challenges, real customer support scenarios, real financial tasks.
Because that's what matters to the user.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And a powerful technique they both champion is using an LLM as the judge.
Using AI to evaluate AI.
Yes, especially if you give the judge LLM a clear rubric. It's great because it's robust to small variations in the output. It understands that 47 and 47 mean the same thing, whereas a simple string match would fail.
What kinds of things can the LLM judge?
Anthropic gives examples like, was the final answer accurate? Did the agent use the tools correctly? Maybe the right number of times? Did it achieve the desired final state like? Did the flight actually get changed in the database?
And Y Combinator found that different LLMs even have different judging styles.
Yeah, wasn't that interesting? They found Gemini 2.5 Pro was more flexible, willing to reason about edge cases, while another model was more rigid, like a soldier strictly following the rubric. You might even need to choose your judge based on what kind of evaluation you need.
Wow. But even with LLM judges, humans are still needed.
Unavoidably. Both sources stress this. Nothing replaces human evaluation. You have to look at the transcripts, manually test edge cases, really understand what the system is doing qualitatively to make real progress.
It comes back to that deep understanding, doesn't it? YC talked about the user reward function.
Exactly. Understanding what success actually means for your specific user. What does that tractor sales manager really need to get promoted? What does a good customer interaction actually look like for that support agent? You need to capture that deep, almost ethnographic understanding.
And then bake it into your evaluations.
Precisely. Which leads to this idea of the forward deployed engineer, or FDE.
Right, the Palantir model. Engineers living with the users.
Sort of, yeah. Sitting with them, watching their real workflows, even the messy Word docs and spreadsheets, and then rapidly building software that addresses those specific observed needs.
And AI just turbocharges that.
Massively.
Yeah.
Founders can now go from that deep user insight to a working agent demo incredibly quickly using these prompting and evaluation techniques. They can close big enterprise deals way faster than traditional software cycles allowed.
That's how these vertical AI agent companies are apparently taking off so fast.
That seems to be the pattern. Companies like GigaML, Happy Robot, they find a niche, deeply understand the user's reward function, build agents guided by sophisticated prompts, and rigorously evaluate against those real-world needs. That deep user empathy combined with rapid AI iteration is the competitive advantage, the moat.
It's less about the raw tech and more about the applied understanding and speed.
I think that's exactly right.
So wrapping up, it's this really potent mix, managing these agents almost like people, using incredibly detailed prompts and heuristics, but then backing it all up with rigorous, user-centric evaluation.
It is, and it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As these agents get smarter and more autonomous, maybe the key skill isn't just coding anymore.
What is it then?
Maybe it's more about understanding behavior, human and
Hmm.
artificial, and being able to manage these incredibly powerful tools with clarity, with empathy, and with really well-defined expectations. Less debugging Python, more refining communication.
A fascinating thought. It's definitely a whole new frontier in how we work with AI. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.